Hello, you're watching QPVN News. I'm INT'L and here's the headlines. Top Vietnamese leader receives Secretary General of FRELIMO Party. New WHARF at Lao Viet International Port inaugurated. Overseas Vietnamese in Cambodia mark April the 30th, 1975 victory. On April the 28th in Hanoi, General Secretary Tô Lâm hosted a reception for Secretary General of the ruling Mozambique Liberation Front of FRELIMO in short party, Shakil Abubakar, who is on a working visit to Vietnam. Welcoming and thanking Secretary General Abubakar for leading a high-ranking delegation of the FRELIMO Party to visit Vietnam and attend the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day, General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized that the participation of the FRELIMO Party, along with friendly and fraternal parties from Africa, as well as from many regions around the world, is a great joy, support and encouragement for the party, state and people of Vietnam in these meaningful days. Thanking the warm reception for the delegation, Secretary General Abubakar affirmed that Vietnam is one of the priority partners in Mozambique's foreign policy, saying that this visit receives higher expectations in deepening and promoting the traditional relationship and good multifaceted cooperation between the two parties, two states, two governments and people of the two countries. Discussing a number of international issues of mutual concern, General Secretary Tô Lâm asked the FRELIMO Party and Mozambique to support Vietnam and ASEAN stance on resolving maritime disputes by peaceful measures based on respect for international law, especially the 1982 UNCLOS and ASEAN's efforts to build the AC into a sea of peace, stability, cooperation and sustainable development. On April the 28th, at Vũng Áng Economic Zone in Hà Tĩnh Province, President Lương Cường and Party General Secretary and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith attended the ceremony to inaugurate WHARF No. 3 of Lao Viet International Port. WHARF No. 3 can accommodate cargo vessels of up to 45,000 DWT with a throughput capacity of up to 2.15 million tons per year. The launch of this facility is expected to help enhance the central region's investment attractiveness and provide better services for import, export and transshipment between Vietnam, Laos and the northeast of Thailand. At the ceremony, leaders of the two countries affirmed their commitment to cooperation in managing and effectively exploiting this meaningful project while promoting the implementation of agreed projects, contributing to further enhancing the special solidarity between both sides. Following the ceremony, President Lương Cường and Party General Secretary and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith visited WHARF No. 3 and witnessed the arrival of the inaugural cargo ship. On the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day on April the 28th, President Lương Cường visited the President Ho Chi Minh relic site at the Presidential Palace and offered incense at House 67. In a solemn and emotional atmosphere, President Lương Cường vowed to continue joining the entire party, people and military to promote the strength of national unity and the aspiration for development to bring the country into an era of national growth and prosperity. Touring the relic site, President Lương Cường recalled Uncle Ho's final wish for the entire party and people to be united and build a peaceful, unified, independent, democratic and prosperous Vietnam, making worthy contribution to the global revolutionary movement. On the morning of April the 28th at the Presidential Palace, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính hosted the welcoming ceremony for Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru and his spouse on an official visit to Vietnam. Immediately after the welcoming ceremony, the two Prime Ministers held talks. This visit marks the first visit to Vietnam by Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru. since taking office and also the first since the two countries upgraded their relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership for peace and prosperity in Asia and the world in November 2023. At the talks, the two prime ministers expressed their delight at the strong, comprehensive and substantive development of the Vietnam-Japan Comprehensive Strategic Partnership for Peace and Prosperity in Asia and the world after more than a year of upgrading the bilateral relations. The two leaders agreed to deepen economic cooperation as the main pillar of the relationship, thereby supporting each other to develop amid difficulties of the international economic situation. The two sides agreed to promote the dynamism of new generation ODA cooperation for strategic infrastructure projects and enhance investment and trade cooperation. Both sides affirmed the importance of maintaining the international order and a free, open, inclusive and rules-based trade system on the basis of respecting the fundamental principles of international law and the United Nations Charter. Later on the afternoon, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru attended the Vietnam-Japan Cooperation Forum on Strategic Industries, High Technology, Green Transition and Semiconductors. The forum was joined by leaders of ministries, sectors and agencies of both governments, along with over 300 delegates representing businesses and universities from Vietnam and Japan. At the forum, business representatives discussed cooperation opportunities in strategic fields, introduced outstanding initiatives and models, and witnessed the signing of cooperation agreements aiming to build an innovation and high-tech industry ecosystem between the two countries. Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru stressed that Vietnam, with its market of 100 million people and abundant skilled labor, is a highly promising investment destination. Reflecting on his visit to Thăng Long Industrial Park, the Japanese Prime Minister highlighted that amid growing global economic instability, cooperation between Japan and Vietnam presents a major opportunity to upgrade industrial capabilities. Japan is committed to supporting Vietnam's resilience against external shocks through strong public-private partnerships, including human resource training and carbon emissions reduction, in line with the new era orientation set by General Secretary To Lâm and reaffirmed during talks with Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính earlier the same day. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính noted that the Vietnam-Japan Comprehensive Strategic Partnership is entering a new phase marked by strategic trust, long-term vision, and renewed momentum. He affirmed that Vietnam identifies people as the center, science, technology, and innovation as the driving forces, and international cooperation as a breakthrough. The Prime Minister called on the Japanese government to continue supporting Vietnam through development cooperation (ODA), especially in strategic industries, high technology, digital and green transitions and innovation. He also encouraged Japanese businesses to further invest, strengthen cooperation, accelerate key projects, and help Vietnamese enterprises integrate more deeply into global supply chains. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính expressed confidence that with the spirit of sincerity, affection, trust, and mutual benefit, the two sides will realize strategic visions for high-tech industries, green transition, and semiconductors, contributing to the sustainable development of both nations and the broader Asia-Pacific region. During the working visit to Vietnam on the morning of April the 28th, General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party Central Committee and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith and a high-ranking delegation of the Lao Party and State had a working session with Military Region 4 Command. The leaders of Military Region 4 expressed their honor to welcome General Secretary and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and national reunification, as well as the 135th birthday of President Ho Chi Minh. This is a great source of encouragement for the officers and soldiers of the military region. The Commissar of Military Region 4 reported on some main features of the national defense, security, economy, culture and society situation in the Military Region 4, especially the results of cooperation between Military Region 4 and units and localities of Laos in recent times. The General Secretary and President of Laos highly appreciated the results of the coordination between the two sides. He voiced his hope that Military Region 4's armed forces and units and localities of Laos would continue to coordinate closely, while ensure national defense, security and politics in the border area. It will be the momentum for economic and social development in the border area, contributing to fostering friendship, special solidarity and comprehensive cooperation between the parties, states and militaries of both countries. Coming up next, overseas Vietnamese in Macau, China celebrates 50th anniversary of South liberation and national reunification. Overseas Vietnamese in Cambodia mark April the 30th, 1975 victory. On the afternoon of April the 27th, the Khmer Vietnamese Association in Cambodia held a ceremony to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and the National Reunification Day, April the 30th, 1975-2025, a great milestone in the history of the Vietnamese people that opened up a new page of history for the country. This is an event to commemorate the glorious past as well as motivate Vietnamese wherever they are to always make efforts and contribute to the cause of developing and protecting the country. Attending the ceremony were Vietnamese Ambassador to Cambodia Nguyễn Minh Vũ and delegates representing overseas Vietnamese in the capital of Phnom Penh and surrounding areas, together with officials and staff of the Vietnamese Embassy in Cambodia, Vietnamese agencies, organizations and businesses in Cambodia. Speaking at the ceremony, Ambassador Nguyễn Minh Vũ emphasized that April the 30th, 1975 marked a glorious victory in the cause of Vietnam's national liberation. This is an opportunity for every Vietnamese to express gratitude for the great support of international friends, including the Cambodian people, for the cause of liberating the South and unifying the country. Recently, the Overseas Vietnamese Association in China's Macau Special Administrative Region solemnly held a ceremony to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day, April the 30th, 1975-2025, with the participation of representatives from the local authorities, consulates and a large number of Vietnamese people living and working in Macau. Speaking at the ceremony, Chairman of Overseas Vietnamese Association in China's Macau Dương Trung Đức highlighted the liberation as one of the largest and most meaningful events organized by the association every year. On these occasions, the organizing committee often screens historical documentary films, displays pictures and organizes art performances, thus arousing and spreading patriotism to each member of the association. Over the past 50 years, Vietnam has developed strongly and emerged as one of the most dynamic economies in Southeast Asia, in which there is certain contribution from overseas Vietnamese in general and the Vietnamese community in Macau in particular. Many members of the association and I regularly follow developments and information related to the preparations for the Grand Parade marking the 50th anniversary of national reunification. Along with the joy and national pride, we forever remember the great contribution of heroic martyrs who sacrificed themselves for the country. In his speech at the ceremony, Consul General of Vietnam in Hong Kong and Macau of China, Lê Đức Hạnh, recalled the milestones of the 1975 Spring General Offensive and Uprising, especially the historic Ho Chi Minh Campaign. This is not only an immortal epic demonstrating the aspiration for peace and national reunification, but also a brilliant symbol for the spirit of great national unity. This is the end of the QPVN News today. Remember to watch our news again at qpvn.vn. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.